So one of the options you have when you're leaving here is to pay the exit tax online, which is $8 US. So when you do that, make sure you put in the right passport number. So we just made it here to the border. We're on the Costa Rica side here in Sixola. Just took the bus down from Puerto Viejo. Was about 45 minutes and cost about 2,100 colones for the ride. So we're just gonna head up here, get stamped out, and cross the bridge. So one of the options you have when you're leaving here is to pay the exit tax online, which is $8 US. So when you do that, make sure you put in the right passport number. I paid it a couple days ago and then got here and they were like, no, you didn't pay. And I had inverted the first two characters from my passport and had put CA instead of AC. So I had to go back. There's a little office just down by the passport desk where you have to go and pay in cash. So, but now paid it twice. But there was an email address that he said I can email and get the refund for it. So that should be fine. Also, don't go up over the bridge. Come down this way, I guess. So you're gonna come under this bridge and around this walkway. There must be two sides to this bridge that are blocked off from each other, but there is no signage for that. So just keep that in mind when you're here crossing over the border. Anyway, yeah, as I was saying, there's an email address I can contact to apparently request the refund. So hopefully that'll work. Or I'm out $8 US for the first attempt. And the second attempt was actually more. It was $9 to do it in person. So it's my $1 my fault tax, I guess. Anyway, we'll head up and head over the bridge and get into Panama. One other quick note also is that as soon as you cross over into Panama, you have a time change. So it goes from what's the equivalent of Central Time to Eastern Time in North America. This is the border between Costa Rica and Panama. This is the Sixola River, and it defines the border between the two countries along this Atlantic stretch. Just about to head into the Panama side here, get stamped in, and then find our first of two buses. So I'm in Panama. I have to go over to this office to get stamped in, and then from there we will find the bus. So just keep that in mind that when you come off the bridge, go underneath it, and then come over this way. All right, welcome to Panama. My first time here. I got your immigration, no problem. It was usually they say they ask for proof of onward travel. Sometimes they even ask if you have $500 in the bank, US. They did not ask me either question. Just asked me where my first stop was, to which I told them Bocas, of course, and that was it. Stamped me in, got my passport all taken care of, and now it's time to find the bus to head out to our first stop. And I think they're right here. So that was quick and easy. I just got off two buses back to back to get me to here in Almirante. It was $1 for the first bus, which was about 25 minutes or so, and then the second bus was about 40 minutes or so, and it was $1.45. Quick and easy. And one of the pieces of good news that I have is that when I had read online about getting here, they said that they drop you off about a kilometer away. Well, the best news of all, they dropped me off about 50 feet away. So I just have to go inside here and get my boat, and off we will go to Bocas del Toro here in Panama. So when you get here, the best thing to do is just go right to one of the boat companies that are here. You'll run into a bunch of guys trying to help with tickets or carrying your bags, which, you know, you're only going 50 meters, so don't really need any help with that. Just head over to one of the boat ferry companies that are here. Valencia is the first one you come across, and it's generally been pretty good. Thank you very much. The information online said they're pretge good. They run pretty frequently, so if you get a ticket with them, you don't have to wait very long. So anyway, I'm gonna go over and take care of that. So we got our ticket. It was $10 US, and that is a return ticket. Don't lose it, or you'll have to pay again to leave. It's $6 one way or $10 return, and the return ticket's good for, I think, up to at least a month. I'm only going to be there for 3 days, so it was an easy way to, you know, just pay for the return ticket up front. Just waiting, one of the standard kind of, you know, lancha type boats, and we're going to leave here from the harbor shortly, about 15 minutes or so, and then head over to Bocas. But this whole process today so far has been really smooth, going from up in Costa Rica down to here. You know, it's a very easy trip. It's only been 4 hours so far, and that's including, you know, a bit of a delay at the border there where I had to go pay for the exit fee again. So yeah, easy, and no reason that anybody can't do this the same way. Instead of paying $30 or $40 for a shuttle, I've paid $2 for the bus since I got to Panama. And the bus on the other side in Costa Rica from Puerto Viejo to Sixola was about $4.50 US. So, you know, you're looking at about $6 or $7 in total for all your transportation needs to get to here, to get to the boat, to get to Bocas del Toro. Welcome to Bocas del Toro here in Panama. My first stop in this new country. I just got off the boat. It was about 30 minutes, I think, from start to finish, which was awesome. And the place I'm staying is just 2 minutes up the road. Good afternoon. It's my first full day here in Bocas del Toro in Panama, and what a beautiful day it is. Sunny and warm, but not super duper hot. It's got a nice breeze here right on the water. Just a perfect combination. It's just about noontime. I'm actually heading back over at the moment to go pick up my laundry that I dropped off this morning. There was a couple of different options that were given to me here this morning for that, but the first one was closed. So I went over to the second spot, which was Lavanderia Saturno, or Saturn Laundry. And they were open, ready to go, and said they could have them back in a few hours. So it is now a few hours later. Big shout out here so far. I have to say that I've really already gotten such a positive vibe from here in Panama, even though it's only been, hasn't even been 24 hours yet. But there's certainly a different feeling here than there was in Costa Rica that I talked about there in my final video from Puerto Viejo. It's definitely more laid back. People seem generally friendlier in terms of, saying things like hello and good day and all those types of things. So it's, it's a cool vibe. I also have to say that it is less expensive than Costa Rica by quite a bit. I found some really great deals already on some food and stuff, and I'm going to show those places to you later, so that if you come here to Bocas and you're trying to get by on a budget or somewhat, that at least there are some options that you can go with. Just kind of heading over here through the main square in the town. Bocas is not a big place. It's probably only 5 or 6 streets by 5 or 6 avenues. It's a statue of someone we've seen in several places in the past. Simon Bolivar from Venezuela, a hero not only in Venezuela, but throughout this sort of Latin American region. So let's go over and pick up my laundry first, and then go for a little walk. So this is Lavanderia Saturno. He's just closed at the moment. Looks like he's probably gone to lunch. So I'm just going to wait for him to return. Shouldn't be more than 10 or 15 minutes. And was the only place in town that could do laundry today. So the options were here or not get it done at all. Shout out to Roger, one of my subscribers actually met here today in Bocas Del Toro. Really cool, had a little chat, a nice little walk around. Hope everything's good with you guys in the A-Team van, and hope you have a good rest of your trip. Alright, well, I stopped for a burger there at Backstreet Burger, which was just up the street from the laundry place. He was, as I said, on lunch, so I went and got some lunch myself. And the burgers were great. Nice burger with jalapenos and a fries and drink. Came to like $7, I think. So we're back out. I dropped my laundry off. Forgot I had to upload my video today, so I went and did that. And now I'm back out. Different hat, so same day. It's actually raining out a little bit here at the moment, kind of like a mist. And the wind has really picked up, so it's quite comfortable here at the moment. I'm just heading down to the end of the road here, so this is sort of the first road of Calle Numero Uno, which is where a lot of the hotels and fancy bars and restaurants are. And as I was saying earlier, it's not a super big place. I was out for a little stroll there before and basically walked the entire perimeter of the town itself in like 20 minutes. Now it goes obviously beyond this. You can kind of go off. You can sort of almost see it here. There's more land over that way because there's another road that actually connects past almost like a sandbar and then continues on from there. But this town itself of Bocas del Toro is, like I said, about 5 square blocks, maybe 6 square blocks, but is definitely a place where tourists and locals both coexist quite well. Some really beautiful old colonial style buildings and stuff here too. A real wide mix of things. There's a lot of construction going on here. But it's, yeah, as I said earlier, it's a very cool vibe here. And I really have enjoyed it so far. Just as I'm walking by here, there's a map you can see here of all the different islands in the archipelago and some of the different ways you can go. You know, we're up here on Isla Colon, and then there's the main ferry through back to Almirante, where I started from, but then you've got all these other places here. Yeah, San Cristobal, Bastimientos, Popa, Agua, and you can actually visit a lot of those different places. There are different water taxis, different prices, and it kind of gives you some ideas of some of the different activities you can do in some of those places as well. From the people that I've talked to so far, they've said that Bocas is going under a real change here in the last few years. Here's one of the older apartment buildings here that looks like it's in a state of pretty rough condition. And everywhere that I've seen so far, there's been a lot of construction going on here, a lot of modernization, stuff like that. And I think that this is one of those places that, again, is seeing a lot of gentrification in the area. A lot of businesses and hotels and things that are owned by people from other countries. Another airplane. The airport landing strip is 5 minutes away from here, so you see these airplanes coming in all the time. I think it's really interesting that there's a lot of foreign-owned businesses and stuff here. Obviously, there's a connection here with the U.S. and the Panama Canal. There's obviously a connection here also with the U.S. dollars being on par. So one of the things that's really kind of neat here about Panama is that everything is paid for pretty well in U.S. dollars in terms of paper money. You know, anything that's paid through machines and stuff is all US dollars. But what you get in change can be in Panamanian Balboa. So here's an example here of American quarters, here and here on the sides. But this is a 1 Balboa coin, or $1 coin, and this is a quarter Balboa coin. So the 0.25 Balboa and the 25 cents US coins have the exact same value here because the Balboa is pegged to the US dollar. Just keep that in mind, that after you leave here and go back to wherever you're going, if you're trying to use change to pay for stuff down the road, make sure you don't try and pay with Balboa quarters instead of US quarters, or people are going to give you a funny look, I think. I also really like that a lot of the houses here are really brightly colored and painted. I've seen some really cool street art and paintings along the way. It's a very lively place, and it feels very, like I said, a mixture of, you know, Caribbean and Latin American mix here. Another plane just taking off. So while large parts of Boca are definitely, you know, catering to tourists and have been designed to really attract tourists, there's still obviously a local side to the city that, you know, the tourism heavily influences, both in revenue for companies and businesses and tour guides and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, that also, of course, has the unfortunate factor of driving up prices for guys like this guy or that horse. So it's always good to be mindful of that wherever you go, and I've talked about that before, that wherever you go, try and be mindful of the people that do live there themselves and how, you know, you can influence and help with some of that based on where you spend your money, you know, the kind of trip you have, those types of things. But I love the opportunity to be able to go to these places that are new to me, maybe new to you, showcase local places, local restaurants, places that I'm staying, that I do what I can to try and help support the local economy as much as possible. I had a comment recently on one of my videos about Nicaragua and how going there, you know, supporting what their opinion was that, you know, the Sandinistas are terrible and the FSLN is terrible government and all that sort of stuff. But for me, it was all about going there to support local businesses, show off restaurants and people and places that I go to, and kind of help promote them as best I can on my little corner of the internet. Pretty frequent. That's the third one that I've seen in about the last 15 minutes. And it looks like another one's over here getting ready to leave. So the airport is literally right here in town. And go over and have a quick little look. And there's number 4 taking off right now. This is the international airport here in Bocas Del Toro. They actually have quite a number of flights that come in here from different places. Panama especially, of course, but they also have flights that come in here from Costa Rica and some other places. And it must be seriously busy because, like I said, that is the 4th airplane that I've seen in the last 15 to 20 minutes now here at the airport. What's super funny to me is I'm standing here basically on the runway, or near it. There's actually a soccer field here at the end of the runway. There's a couple of nets here. I don't look like it maybe doesn't get used very much, but funny nonetheless. And while it's all fenced around to get in, there's an opening right here that you can walk through and get into where the runway is. But anyway, really cool, kind of neat to see this. And again, I'm sure that there are plenty of flights that come in every day from different countries. But for me, traveling overland and stuff, not really interested in flying too much unless I absolutely had to, or if I was flying home to visit family or whatever. That would be sort of the exceptions to that rule. But yeah, I much prefer, it's not that it's something weird, like I'm not afraid of flying or anything like that, but it's just, I just like seeing places go by from the ground level as I pass by them on a bus. I was talking there earlier about the difference in pricing and stuff between Costa Rica and here in Panama, and I should be doing a water bottle index is what I should be pricing things out as. When I was in Costa Rica, everywhere that I went, a standard like 600 ml, 500 ml bottle of water was $2 or $3 US. And that was even in like convenience stores, grocery stores, whatever. Here in Panama, even here in Bocas del Toro, which is a pretty touristy place, I'm paying 50 cents US for bottles of water. So really a big difference already. I'm seeing it across the board with places to stay, food, transportation costs here are really affordable. And this is all with the caveat that prices here have jumped quite a bit in the last few years. Some prices here have gone up 2 or 3x just in the last 4 or 5 years. So that really affects locals. So while it's easy for me to say, oh, you know, stuff is still super cheap here and it's really cool and it's really awesome and all that sort of stuff, for locals it's not quite the same story. So I worry that places like this, as gentrification continues, as people, you know, become more aware of these places and move into them, further driving up the prices, further driving out the people that were here before. I almost forgot to add a footnote, by the way, that if you are in Panama, you do not need to be buying bottled water. The water here in Panama is safe to drink and uses some of the same systems that we do back home for, you know, water purification and stuff. So everywhere in Panama that you go, any cities, any touristy areas, any of that kind of stuff, water is 100% safe to drink. Well, it didn't take me very long this time. I was just kind of wandering around there, as you saw, and stopped by a vendor's market, and I got a new one for my backpack. This is the Flag of Panama, my first one I've had to purchase in quite a while, actually. I think that this would be the first new one I'm going to be adding to my pack since my first time in Nicaragua, because I already had a Costa Rica patch from my previous time there many years ago, and I had one from all the other countries that I just went back through again. So yeah, so this is the first new patch for my backpack in probably about 5 months or so, without looking it up. And anyway, that's really cool. I'll be adding it to my backpack tonight, and that'll make it official. I'll take a picture of my backpack with this one added to it, and give you a quick update of what it all looks like. Even though some of them are getting a little worn and weathered and dirty looking because of all the travel, but they are still all there and all intact. So it's tricky trying to show you where I'm staying here in Bocas Del Toro, because I'm staying in an 8-bed hostel room. It's a little dark in here too, so that doesn't help. But this is a place called Klika, which just, I think, is recently opened or is a renovation of an older place. It is right next door to where the boats come in, on the Valencia company boats. Literally next door. I walked way past it when I arrived here the other day. But I have to say that for a shared space, these beds have been spectacular. They are like a memory foam type mattress, basically brand new, nice feather down pillows. Everyone's got their own charging ports, and a little lamp, and a little storage cubby hole in there. And it's been awesome. There is 2 bathrooms. There's one directly in the room here behind that door for the guests in the room, and then there's an extra bathroom right next door that's public, but basically only gets used by the people that are here. So it's been great. You know, I've said it before that I'm not super big on shared accommodations in the past, but trying to stretch a budget and see what is out there, it has been a good experience, and I've had some good times so far. This place is great. It's right on the water. We'll take a walk outside here in a second. They've got shared rooms, they've got privates, they've got these dorm rooms, they've got all kinds of different options here for all budgets and styles. Since this one's not in use at the moment, I'll show you the bathrooms. So these are nice walk-in showers with hot and cold water, all the usual stuff, nice big mirrors. And yeah, it's never been a problem, like you're never having to wait in line up or anything. 2 bathrooms for 8 people is more than enough. And let's go show you the rest outside. So this is sort of the outside deck area that they've got here. There's more spaces up here. This building is all theirs also. And yeah, it's been really good. It's actually just starting to clear up a little bit. It was raining here this morning, so it's kind of gross. But in here they get a bar / restaurant. Lots of food options. Beer is pretty affordable, about $3. And they have like drink specials and stuff on all the time. Also, I haven't bothered to eat food here because I've been eating at other local places. This is just sort of the main entryway here. Actually come in, usually when you check in, it's such a rush here when they're trying to check in, so lots of seating areas and stuff to kind of hang out here. Wi-Fi here has been some of the strongest that I've seen anywhere, which has been awesome. And then you walk outside and you're right on the main road. So as I mentioned, this is the Valencia water taxis that I came on the other day. And if you're going to come here and do the same thing I did, this is convenient because Klika, where I'm staying, is this orange building right here next door. So don't do what I did and walk a half hour out of the way because you're not paying attention. Tomorrow I am leaving Bocas. Been here it'll end up being 3 nights in total, and it's been a really cool stop. I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time here, but it's been cool for a few days just to kind of check it out as your sort of first stop here in Panama. It's definitely a party town. It's funny because right now there's actually a lineup. Today is Friday, and one of the most popular things here in Bocas for tourists is what they call Filthy Friday, which is basically a booze cruise / all-day party. And There's a huge lineup for it over here. I'll show you what it looks like. So you can see over there, right across the street, there's a huge lineup for what they call Filthy Friday. I am definitely too old for that sort of thing, but it is certainly the most popular thing you can do here. They basically do island hopping. I think they go through 3 different islands over the course of a day. Lots of partying, lots of drinking, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's one of the main reasons lots of people come here on a stop through in Panama. However, not for me, but that's fine. I hope they all have fun and don't get stupid.